Back in March, Blizzard announced their return after 3 years to the Anaheim Convention Center to run their traditional fan expo BlizzCon. We haven't had one of those in 3 years, and especially back in the day, BlizzCon was always the event of the year for new titles of Blizzard, new expansions, updates in general around Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, StarCraft, whatever. The spotlight, of course, was on the big games, and we here in a niche around a classic game of Blizzard were oftentimes disappointed. Sometimes Warcraft, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm wasn't even mentioned with one word, even though they carry the big legacy of Blizzard from the big successes in the 2000s and before. In 2026, this will be a bit different because Blizzard has announced the pre-sale of BlizzCon, and a little hidden was news for our classic games. Unexpected news because it's esports tournaments for Warcraft, StarCraft, and Heroes of the Storm. In the news, they say there is a new classic stage in the Blizzard arcade, and they also mention the best in esports with the inaugural Blizzard Classic Cup. If you dig a little deeper and go to Blizzard's esports page, it reads, the Blizzard Classic Cup brings Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft Remastered, StarCraft II, and Warcraft III back to the BlizzCon stage for 2 days of thrilling competition. Community captains will draft all-star teams across these iconic titles to battle for glory on the new Blizzard Classic stage located in the Blizzard Arcade. This sounds like one competition for all the titles. Maybe it just reads that way. Maybe we will have a tournament for every game. Maybe it's like an esports World Cup format where every tournament is a discipline and you gain points for an overarching team. But maybe they're gonna mix it up and Flash will be playing Warcraft or a Happy will be playing Heroes of the Storm. No details were given about the format, prize money, nothing. But Blizzard is giving the classic games a stage again after literally burying them for years, and that can only be seen as good news. For StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm, it's a return after 6 to 7 years. For Warcraft 3, it's a return as a competitive format to BlizzCon after 15 years. And it follows a trend. It follows a trend at Blizzard that the classic games are getting more attention again. Previously, they were all in maintenance mode. Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft, and Warcraft got a patch, and the cycle continued. It was spread throughout the year. Now, instead of this cyclical schedule, all the games are developed in parallel. For Warcraft 3, we got the big patch 2.0 in November last year, and a lot of good patches afterwards for stability, compatibility, balance, of course. For StarCraft, things are still a little slower, but they have a new approach where it's not only balance changes anymore led by esports people, but also bug fixes that have been launched in October, I think. And for Heroes of the Storm, it's already the 3rd patch for the game in 2025 coming out at the moment. It's developed in parallel. It's at the same time. There's more activity around the classic games, and that also follows the initial BlizzCon trailer that they put out in March. It literally starts with the storm in reference to Heroes of the Storm, and their tagline for the trailer was, what was lost can be found again. And Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, StarCraft 1, Heroes of the Storm, in the realm of Blizzard, they were lost. Everything was around WoW, Overwatch, Hearthstone. And things seem to change, at least a little bit. Let's not get our hopes up too high. I was there in 2019 and saw the arcade. It's a little bit of a basement section of the BlizzCon, but it's charming. So hopefully they keep the spirit there. Maybe they surprise me and it's a lot bigger than in 2019. It does follow their new overlords, maybe. Because Blizzard was acquired by Microsoft, and their treatment to Age of Empires is rather similar. Age of Empires still gets a lot of patches, DLCs, and tournament support. And while we shouldn't expect a Wololo for all our beloved classic games, at least we're getting attention. At least we're alive. At least we are mentioned. And this can only make us hopeful for the future, and we'll see what it is. More news about the Blizzard Classic Cup as soon as we get them. So if you don't want to miss any of this, hit the subscribe button. We'll be right there. And in the meantime, bring you the best Warcraft 3 esports from all around the world. Let me know in the comments what kind of format you envision, you are hoping for. What's your dream scenario for the Blizzard Classic Cup? And what are maybe fears of yours as well? What could go wrong? What should Blizzard definitely not do? Maybe together we can shape the Blizzard Classic Cup. Very much looking forward to this. These games deserve it because they're the heart and soul of Blizzard. And we're back, boys. See you in a bit.